Hey friends, it's Mari Clark here. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I have a 12 by 12 scrapbooking process for you, and I'm going to be scrapping these three photographs here that you see on my table. These are printed at about 2 by 2, maybe a little bit bigger, and I have done a little bit of work in Lightroom on these photos, just desaturating them and making them look really light and airy because that's kind of going to be the theme of this layout. And those photos I am going to talk about a little bit more as I work on my process. I'm going to tell you about what was happening in these specific pictures. I'm going to do a tiny little bit of mixed media today, so I'm working on basil marshmallow cardstock. I've treated it with clear gesso and let that dry. And now I'm using some Lindy Stamp Gang Magicals, kind of like watercolor. What I really like about this product is that it's got a lot of really pretty shimmer and shine to it. And so you can just kind of see that as a really pretty layer behind my layout today. So this is Papa Pink. And what I did was I watered it down on my little tray that you can see to the right there. And I'm going to show you the drying process just because it's a really cool part of the effect that you get with this product. So when you are drying, I think it's just really cool to move your paper so that that water flows around in the area of the pigment. And as you dry it, it dries where the color or the water is pooling and the pigment is pooling so that you get the lights and darks. And I think that's really cool. It's like a wet on wet watercolor method, right? Now that that's all dry, I'm going to take a Vicky Bouton stencil here, and I'm also going to use the Vicky Bouton stencil brush, the largest one, and I'm also using her Vicky Bouton's color wheel that's in the metallics, and I love this ink. It's so cool. I am going to, this layout is going to be that the strip that you see there eventually is going to be in a horizontal, or sorry, in a vertical, not a horizontal. So that's why I'm using the stencil the way that I am, because I want the wide part of it to be going like like it is there, so that when I put my photos down, more of the stencil is going to stick out. So I'm just going to add this gold pigment here as a layer on top of my watercoloring, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of splatters in that Papa Pink on the page as well, just to create a little bit more interest, a little bit more detail. And now that's all done. So I'm going to just set that all aside and let it to dry. These are some cut files from Handy Paper in Etsy. That's a little Etsy shop. She has really nice cut files. And what I was looking for specifically here was peonies, because I'm going to be using the Heidi Swap Honey and Spice collection. Now, I thought that I might fussy cut or use some of the peonies from the collection, but it turns out I actually don't have very many of them left. I've used virtually all of them up because that was my favorite part of this collection. So that was why I chose to find some peony cut files and back them with paper from the Honey and Spice collection. So I'm just using some of the 6x6 papers to back my cut files, and I'm just tracing around the edge of the cut file, then fussy cutting out that traced area, and then I'll just glue that right onto the back of the cut file, and then my cut file will be all backed with the patterned paper. So I really like how that's going to look when it's all done. And I am going to not show you this entire process. I'm just going to show you the basics of how to do this process if you've never watched me do this before, or you've never seen anyone else do this. It's actually getting to be a pretty popular technique that designers are using right now, and or creators are using, or scrapbookers, people creating in general. So it's pretty fun to do, and it's pretty easy, creates a really cool technique or impact on your layout or your project. So now what I'm going to do is I went into my stash and I found this patterned paper. This is, and I probably can't find the branding strip right now, but I will show you here. It's a Jen Hadfield paper, and love this. I love a diagonal or a black and white stripe, diagonal, vertical, whatever. It's a stripe. And I'm going to cut it, just a little strip of it, and I'm going to adhere that to the left side of my layout. And I just wanted a little pop of the black and white on that one side. And so I'll adhere that down, get that stuck, and eventually I will trim off an equivalent amount of paper on that right side so that the dimensions of my layout are still 12 by 12. So now you can see there's sort of like the basics of the base of my layout are forming here. And you can kind of see the method to my madness with regards to where I have my mixed media. That's the logical strip, right, for my photos. And I don't care how much of this gets covered up. The idea is that it's just going to peek out around the different elements that I'm going to add here. And that's what I wanted. So I'm going to back each of my 3 photos with a little bit of craft foam. I am going to also back the photos or have a mat of tissue paper. So I've already added that to this one photo here. So craft foam first, then tissue paper. Then I'm going to add a little bit of patterned paper. And I wanted lots of dimension on these photos. So I've not only have I added that one layer of craft foam behind the photo, but I'm also going to add foam tape behind the different layers of the mats, just so that it adds tons of dimension to the layout. I like that look. Maybe not everybody does, but I specifically really like that. And I also like how that it really allows lots of space for adding things in and around and under your photos when you're going to add your embellishments and layers and so on. So I'm going to just, fuss around here with adding that tissue paper to the layers of the photos. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of pattern paper. And the pattern paper is going to be, some of it is going to be from Honey and Spice, and some of it is going to be that black and white. So I'm going to bring some of that black and white into the photo layers as well. Now, this is that patterned paper from Honey Spice. It just has that really subtle graphic gray pattern on it. I love it. And it's kind of like a circular pattern. It doesn't really matter in the end because you can't really see it. But what I was thinking was, when I was choosing the paper, was I wanted something subtle, but that possibly, even what I liked about it was it kind of has sort of a circular motion to it, which is imitated, or it's the same thing as what's in that stencil. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that black stripe and use that on my photos. I will distress that a little bit with my distressing tool. I don't think I probably did that on camera, but I do want all of these layers to look distressed. So the patterned paper that I used first was torn on the edge, which I like, and it just makes it look, it just gives it more texture and just makes it look more interesting in that way. So did that. I'm going to just add this little bit of black and white paper to these layers, and then that's all I'm going to do with those photos. These 3 photos are pictures of my daughter's bridal shower, and that shower was at the James Hotel in Saskatoon, which is an amazing venue, like amazing. And my sister was the one that planned it, and she made these wet bridal gown cookies. I hope you can really see it in the still shots at the end. But she made these cookies, and they were like off the hook amazing. And they were such a big hit. And she actually packaged them all in cellophane bags, and everybody got to take them home. She made so many of them that you got to actually eat them at the shower and take some home. So they were just really cool. This little bit here that I'm adding is a strip of, well, you can see it's pom-pom ribbon or whatever, pom-pom embellishment. And it's something that was, this embellishment was in a bag of ribbon odds and ends that I bought at Crop and Create for, I don't even know, like next to nothing. It was less than $10, I think. And it's, the whole bag is right full of all this fun kind of stuff. And so all I did was I took a piece of paper and I sewed the pom-poms down to the strip of paper, because I just thought it's going to be way easier to get this onto my layout where I want it if it's adhered to a piece of paper first. So I just took my sewing machine and sewed it down. I did stretch it as I sewed it because I wanted it to be all nice and stretched out. And then what I'm going to do is just take some adhesive and glue that down to my project. And that's just going to be another really fun layer of texture on the project. I really like how it looks. So you can see those cut files that I've backed there. I wanted to do 3 of the peonies because like 3 is a pleasing number, right, in any design. And so I wanted to make sure that I had one at the top, one on the side, and one at the bottom. So you'll see that eventually. I will place that. I also wanted to use the that one card, the 4x3 card to the right there of my photos, as a journaling spot. And I also wanted to use these little birds because they're really pretty, and they have just that black and white, right? So they just go along nicely. And that vellum camera, I just had to use that because it's beautiful and I wanted to use it on here. So you can see that I've done the journaling, just it's on my computer. I just cut that out and adhered that down with some foam tape. And here you can see I'm just showing you, I overlapped the die cut or the cut files off the edge and then just trimmed them off. And you can see I did a little bit of black splattering just with some watered down acrylic paint, just to add a little bit of, just a delicate little bit of black splattering there. And yeah, I'm just showing you how I added some alphas. The black alphas are from Heidi Swap Honey and Spice Collection, and the white are Pink Fresh Studio white puffy alphas. And I'm just showing you the movement on the paper. I just like it. And I've also added a little bit of sewing along the edge. So that's my layout today. This is my project. I had a lot of fun creating this and working with these beautiful photos that my sister took at my daughter's bridal shower. And that's it. That's what I got for you today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. If you're not a subby, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And make sure you hit that notification bell to be notified of new projects that I upload. Also, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of my project today. Have an amazing day, guys. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.